Well, hello, good people. Spot of Nerd here with day 19. Can you believe it or not? For the 19th time I've said that this is nearly 3 weeks. I have never done this ever before on this channel, and it's been about 10 fucking years this channel's been alive. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a pat on the back because it's fucking dope. I think it's fucking awesome. And huge credit to all of y'all that are watching, specifically on Rumble. YouTube is pretty much dead. I don't know what the fuck happened there. People don't watch at all. But I do really appreciate it. All my love for the support. And even if you don't like it, hey, appreciate you just watching and checking it out. We are finally, even though it's only really been about 2 days since it came out, because let's be honest, it feels like it's been wait, I have a little thing now. Feels like it's been 28 years. See what I did there? Figuring this shit out. God, I'm gonna kick my own ass. Anyway, yeah, so we are officially going to be reviewing 28 years later, The Bone Temple, which is a sequel to the sequel, which will be the middle of the sequel before we get a trilogy from the original, which is now the middle movie of a trilogy, but it's a sequel. So, fair warning, we're going to first chat a little bit about 28 years later, which was the first movie before the second movie, which is the same title, just added with the Bone Temple. Then we'll go on to the movie itself, the Bone Temple. I'm going to be spoiling at that point, and check this out too. I've even got a little bit of a little warning thing down in the corner right here. There it is right there. Pretty cool, right? Again, learning this shit. So for now, it's off. When that's on though, I figured, hey, if you are not wanting to know about probably the most epic ending to a 28 movie, don't watch or listen. But again, I'll put it up there when it comes to that time. So Cliff Notes version. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. 28 years later, I did a review. You can go watch it on my channel. I encourage you to because I go a little bit further in depth, obviously. It was a shit show. Let's just be very blunt and clear about that. The beginning of the film is incredible. It really is an incredible story. It's completely almost separated from the original, the two first movies. It kind of is disappointing because it's almost like they didn't really incorporate 28 weeks later. But ultimately, you have Kick-Ass, who plays the dad, this kid. They are in this community of an island that lives in, I think it's like Scotland or something like that. And the United Kingdom, England, has been completely cut off from the world. There is military around England, basically quarantining the entire island. Nobody gets in, nobody gets out. And they basically just abandoned England because of the virus. So 28 years later picks up in this community, how people are surviving. The virus still exists. Things have developed with the virus itself in relation to people. It's almost like watching Planet of the Apes. So, people have, when it comes to the virus, there's like alphas, which control groups of virus infected people. They definitely went on a tangent, but this is where I will give it credit. It did actually work. It really did work because, again, this is 28 years later after one of the world's probably most horrific infected viruses got out into the world where people just started killing each other. So, credit where it's due. The first half of 28 years later, epic. The second half is where it completely fucking nosedives. Specifically, and I'm not kidding you, when they bring out the fucking Power Rangers to stop the bad infected people. And I'm going to show you as an example here just what I'm referring to. So again, Cliff Notes, the first 28 years later, you get introduced to this Jimmy character, which, albeit, I'm going to give you, again, there's going to be spoilers here in a minute when I get to the Bone Temple movie. Jimmy, I love saying that, was a fucking epic character. Like, the dude who plays him, I was actually found out today he was in Sinners. He was one of the vampires. He plays a psychotic murderer, murdering demon ass, whatever you want to insert acronym. I don't know, fucking verbs here, whatever the English shit is. He fucking did it. He nailed that role. But it's the way they did it that was just abysmal and just tragic. And it really made the movie fall apart. It really, really did. Again, like they set up an amazing story 28 years later after the infection. And then they just bring the Power Rangers in. And so it just kind of defeats the entire purpose of it. And it kind of defeated the entire awesomeness. So that's where I almost put it to a 5 out of 10, maybe 4 or 5 out of 10. But this will make more sense. Let me share and we'll play this video. 28 years ending. Yeah, this one. This will make more sense when you see it. So hang on a second. Let me make sure I am sharing. This is not a spoiler, by the way, because again, 28 years later has been out for what, a year now? Something like that. But yeah, check this out. Hold on one second. This killed 28 years later.
Oh, I think there's a few too many coming now. Even for a fine young warrior like yourself. Would you mind if we stepped in? It would be our pleasure. Right.
Yes, they added the Power Rangers in.
Oh. Let's fucking go. 1, 2, 3, 4. The ability to morph and to even up the score. No one can ever take them down. The power lies on their side. Go, Power Rangers! So, okay, you can see how, again, jokes aside, that is an edited clip. They put the Power Ranger theme over that. But it's really not much different. Take the music out, that's what you got on the second half of 28 years later. It was just tragic. It's as if, and this is where, minor spoiler for the Bone Temple, they did the same exact thing in the Bone Temple. It started out beautifully, and I'm going to get into why, and then it just fell fucking apart. It really, really did, and I'll get into why. Broken record, I know I keep saying that. We're going to get to it. But ultimately, I would save your money. I really would wait for the streaming. If anything, I found out just earlier, I'll see if I can find an article real quick, but I guess it only made like 2 mil. And I think it only, like opening night, I think it only made 10 mil this weekend. So it is a failure beyond whatever is below failure. And the tragic part about all of it, and I'm going to give you a huge spoiler at the end of this. I pray to God they finish the trilogy, because trust me, when I get to discussing the part that I really want to talk to you guys about, that's going to spoil such a big thing, you're going to want that third film. You're going to want the third film. I pray to God they do, even though it's just bombed. Like, if anything, just make the movie and put it on streaming. It save you the budget or something like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead. I'm going to put up the good old sign thingy right there. So if you don't want to know what happens in 28 years later, the Bone Temple, stop, go watch, come back, listen, watch me, blah, 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 blah. If you don't care, you've been warned. From here on out, I'm going to spoil 28 years later, the Bone Temple. Like I mentioned in the description, this is essentially repeating what Avatar is. It's the same fucking movie. They start off badass. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. And then the movie just, I swear, the writers, the director, whatever it is, they just didn't know what the fuck to do. They really did not have a fucking clue how to end this movie. So they just fucking had a 12-year-old do it for them.
I swear to God, that's it, and we'll get to it here in a moment. So, it starts out obviously, the entire movie is focused on Jimmy, who you just saw in that clip earlier. His group of basically bandits. So, I know that it's kind of a far stretch thing. Let me kinda back up just a little bit. If you saw 28 Years Later, the first one, it starts off when the virus first starts taking effect, and there's a room full of kids who are crying, and they're watching Teletubbies. It's obviously in the '90s. Um, one of those kids escapes. His father is a priest or pastor in a church that's very local. Jimmy is that kid grown up 28 years later. So this next movie, The Bone Temple, pretty much is all about Jimmy and his crew, as well as the Bone Temple, which is obviously ran by Voldemort. I'm just going to call him Voldemort because I don't know what the fuck his actor's name is. P.S. There's a lot of cock in this movie. Like, I thought there was a lot of cock in the first movie. Holy shit. 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple has a lot of bones in it. And I'm not talking about the ones that are just made out of your calcium, if you get my drift. It's insane how much cock is in this film. Don't know why that came to my brain, but figured I'd worth mentioning it. Spoiler. Anyway, back on target. See what I did there? Gotta do it. I have to do it. Anyway, so Jimmy and his crew are fucking psychopaths. You gotta remember, these are kids that grew up during the infection. They have never been to school. They've never basically spoken to adults. They actually believe Jimmy is God or some form of him. And they also believe that Jimmy's role is to stop the devil, aka his own father. Now, you come to kind of realize that Jimmy really isn't that fucked in the head. He really is just playing the God model, as in, these kids are susceptible. They'll believe anything I tell them. They'll believe anything, etc. They'll do what I want because I'm Jimmy. So they are psychopaths. And one of the greatest sequences in this film is it's like very tribal, between these. So they all have to wear the blonde wigs. It's based off of like a musician. I forget which Jimmy, whatever it is. Look him up. It's based off of a real character, like in the real world. But they go throughout the country of England, finding survivors and torturing them. And I'm talking about one of the best scenes I've ever had or seen in a horror flick is in this movie. They come across this group of survivors that have figured it out in terms of surviving, like fenced off their home. They've got a farmland. They've got cows and blah, or not really cows. They basically have been able to survive for 28 years. So what they do is they obviously just walk into their home as if they own it, and they just go ape shit on them. And I'm talking about like they skin these people alive. Skin these people alive. And it is the reason I really enjoyed that, and I know that's really kind of fucked up to think about and say, but it's just that's the 28 years later that we want from this kind of horror film. When we had 28 Days Later, it set a stage from a new concept of horror that nobody had ever seen before. That's why it's a cult classic in the horror realm. It was bloody, it was graphic, it was all the above. Then we got 28 Weeks Later, which to me is one of the greatest films that has ever existed. Take the horror part of it out. It is just one of the most amazing storytelling that you've ever had in your life. If you haven't watched it, you are missing out. Yes, it's graphic. Yes, it's gory. But trust me, it's got Hawkeye in it. The way they film it, it's just fucking amazing. It is one of the most depressing movies you will ever watch in your entire life, but I promise it's one of the best ever. So now we jump 28 years, almost to the date in relation to the actual sequel itself. We want to see some grit. We want to see some dirt. And that's one thing, again, I will give credit to both of these films, the first one and the second one. England has not fared well over the last nearly 3 decades. So, humans are disgustingly scarred and all this and that and blah, 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 blah. So, you have savages
when this type of shit happens. Just look at The Walking Dead. Look at any sort of apocalyptic film. You basically see the worst kind of humans, and that's what Jimmy and his group are. They're skinning people alive, they're torturing people. It's insane, what they do just to survive and basically exists as God Jimmy and his crew. So this is where the movie halfway through shits all over itself. Voldemort, if you remember from the first film, basically is kind of manning, I guess, or is in charge of the quote unquote bone temple, which you've seen from the trailer. The challenge is, of course, Jimmy meets with him, presuming he is the devil because he wears iodine to make sure he doesn't get infected. One of his group, one of the kids in the group, comes across Voldemort and says, "Oh my God, I found the devil." Goes back to Jimmy and says, "I found the devil. I found the devil." Jimmy, being the one that's sane and actually the adult, realizes, shit, I gotta make something. We gotta do something here. So he introduces himself to Voldemort and says, "Hey, I need and ask a favor with you. If you don't, I'm going to do things. I'm going to make you eat your own intestines, like your own small intestines." So, as you might imagine, Voldemort just trying to help out, building this temple of bones, as a memorial for people that have died during the infection, is like, oh shit, it's finally caught up to me. Took 28 years, but those savages, there's finally something horrible is about to happen to me. So they plan, and this is where it's so even dumb to like think about and say, they plan to make Voldemort into the actual devil. They do that by playing Iron Maiden, and of course he puts makeup on and he puts on this fire show, and it is the dumbest fucking shit I have ever seen. Not in just a 28-day movie week year film, but just overall. And you just are watching the second half going, are you fucking serious right now? We had the most amazing sequence of events, as torturous and horrible as they were, and this is how you gonna fucking end it? Are you shitting me right now? Did you really run out of anything else to do other than what this is? Now, again, spoiler here as well, major one. Supposedly, as well, Voldemort was able to find the cure. Big spoiler here. He actually was able to find a cure to the infection. Now, whether or not that's going to be legit in the future or if it means anything other than a single case, he basically has this alpha infected guy, the one that has a really big hee haw, and he basically mixes medications, all this other stuff to realize the infection is just, they're seeing demons, they're seeing horrible things. So he takes some it's like psychological medication, mixes it together, and is able to cure one of the alphas. There is a scene in this film where the alpha, who was once infected, is healed, wakes up in a train surrounded by infected. It is one of the most amazing sequences of horror that I've ever seen in my life. It is fucking badass. It's only about a couple minutes, but again, it's one of those very few good things about this movie. Come to the end of the movie, Jimmy, of course, gets overtaken by his own crew because the kid, who is the son to Kick-Ass, discovers, Voldemort and him have known each other. They obviously see each other during the devil dancing sequence. Voldemort does this dance sequence, which just, again, you're literally like putting your hand to your head going, are you shitting me right now? Please, God, why? But yeah, obviously Jimmy gets punished, shall we say, and he gets literally crucified on a cross. And that's how the movie ends for Jimmy, supposedly. Jimmy, he's high as a kite. He sees the now cured Alpha with his big schlong, and goes up to Voldemort and says, "Thank you." And that's the end of their story. That literally, this film from Jimmy's perspective. Whether or not he survives tells me they're gonna show him managing to survive. I don't know, but I also believe if we get a third film, huge fucking spoiler here, people, they're gonna go in a completely different direction because let me play you guys a clip that is going to blow your fucking minds. So, let's see. Yeah, here we go. All right. You have been warned. Huge, probably the biggest spoilers ever in a 28 movie thing. So, one more time, you have been warned that I'm spoiling the shit out of this for you. Let's roll it.
There.
It's Jim!
Oh, shit.
What is it?
They're chasing someone. 2 people.
It's Jim. It's Jim. It's Jim.
Do we help them? Dad, do we help them?
Of course we do. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
There it is. I tell you what, watching that sequence, I was like, yes, he returns. It is Jim, right? Hold on, that's gonna bug me. I swear I'm failing at this right now. 28 days. No, no, no. Don't want 28 bones. Give me 28 days later. Yeah, it's Jim. I get sorry, it was like the Jimmy and then Jim. No, it is Jim, yeah. But yeah, okay. I was screaming like, yes! Theaters, everybody was like, yes, fucking Jim, he returns. It's a brief 5-minute sequence. There's a little bit more than what that clip is showing. But everybody was just like, fuck yes, Jim, he's back. Interestingly enough, you saw there was a little girl. That little girl obviously is African American because, of course, what was her face? I forget her name too. What was her name? Selena was nowhere to be seen. I'm assuming, of course, Jim and her went to the hippity dippities and had the child, but she's not shown in this movie. So again, big spoiler there. Is she dead? I'm gonna guess yes, because of course like I said, they show you some other clips that kind of make you think, okay, she's not around. The kid's doing fine. They're healthy. Everybody's doing blah, 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 blah. My assumption, and record it right here and now, January 19th, 2026. I suspect she died during childbirth. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Or maybe she somehow survived. We don't know. Again, I pray just that scene alone is like, please, please make the third film. Please give us a conclusion to Jim's story. Please give us a conclusion to it. But to wrap this episode up, and I think you guys kind of know where I might go with this. One of the biggest questions I have in relation to that sequence in the movie was, if you remember way back in 2002 when 28 Days Later came out, at the end of that movie, Jim and Selena, they obviously escaped to that house, and then they set up this huge sign, that SOS. There was the daughter from the other guy they met at the apartment complex. And then the plane comes around too, when, of course, the outbreak first started to die out. So why weren't they rescued? Number one, why wasn't Jim and everyone else rescued? But number two, why were they even located then? Like, why were they seen by the pilot? Why were they not rescued? And where is the daughter to the other guy that they were friends with in the first 28 Days movie? Lot of questions. And I mean that from a huge movie guy, love horror, any type of movie, yada, yada, yada. I think you guys know where I'm going with that, where it's like, I hope they answer those questions. That's my biggest, I pray, like, please answer those questions. That's all we ask. At least if you're not going to make the movie, talk to Danny Boyle, who I think the director of the original, like, let us know what your intention was, what was going to be their outcome. That's all we want to know. Just please don't leave us on a cliffhanger like that. Please, I beg you. So, yeah. Anyway, Is the Bone Temple better than the first movie? Sure, I will say that. It is maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10 versus 4 or 5 from the first. I don't know if I can really say go watch it. I'd tell you to wait. I really, really would. And I don't mean that as a slide to the film. I just mean that as a other than that last 10 minutes, it's okay, minus the awesomeness in the first half. So take it with a grain of salt. If you are a fan of the franchise, obviously I encourage you to go see it. But otherwise, I might just tell you to wait. I really do. You know what I mean? I would realistically 2 cups of tea out of 4 from yours truly, Spot of Nerd. Maybe 2. 3 would be pushing it, but it is what it is. So I'm getting long on this. I'm gonna end it out. I super appreciate if you guys got this far, for listening, for watching. If you love me, if you have pity, take pity out of me. Throw the subscribes, likes, the comments. I would super duper in the pooper appreciate it. And we will see you guys. Gosh, is it the 20th tomorrow? Holy shit, it really is. Yeah. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Later, y'all.